Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Nice to be here.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning. I would like to thank you all for attending this series of talks organized by ETC. It's really nice to see new faces joining us today, as well as our colleagues and participants who joined our previous session. Welcome, everyone. Few reminders, please, before we begin. The session is going to be recorded, and you may type or raise hand for questions at the end of the session. Our guest speaker for today is currently an assistant professor from Zayed University in the United Arab Emirates and a chair of the Research Ethics Committee. She has more than 10 years experience in the academy sector as well as in research. She has an engineering doctorate degree and specializes in computer science. Besides that, she has many accomplishments in research, and one of those is a multi-purpose semantic reach ontology for the detection of fake news in social networks. Without so much further ado, may I call on Dr. Anoud Benihani.
Hi, everyone. Hi, thank you, Mahfouda, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all well. It's honestly my honor to be with you today, and I'm just gonna start this, just put it in the background. It's my honor to be with you today. What can I say? I've been to Oman only one time, and I must say it was one of the very fascinating trips for me. I really enjoyed it. And if I go a little back in history, in 2006, this is just briefly about my relationship with Oman. In 2006, I did my master's degree in Loughborough University, and I was all alone. I remember it was Ramadan at that point, and back then, I remember Eid was coming, and I met a few ladies who are from Oman, and I must say I was honored to call them my friends. The way they were together, the way they took care of me, and then again through the PhD, and then again when I visited Oman, I saw all of these friends, the Omani people, the kindness, everything. So I'm really honored to be here today. It's a pleasure to be talking to you and share my latest research work. I'm going to be talking about fake news detection on social media related to COVID-19. And I think this is one of the most trending topics we have these days, especially with we all suffering from the pandemic. We're all suffering from fake news that we keep listening and hearing about online, especially with the social media. Everybody's at home, everybody's tweeting, everybody is posting on the internet and so on. So this is a research area we've been working on for over a couple of years now. It was mainly about fake news. Now we made a recent research about fake news related to COVID. Now, my presentation is not very long, but once I finish, I'm more than happy to take questions. I didn't go very technical in my presentation today, but I'm more than happy to collaborate or research or share my research papers or findings later whenever someone is interested. Now, as I was introduced, I work at Zayed University in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates. And I'm going to be talking about how our research addressed some of the current challenges related to information defamation and basically, and its potential impact on the COVID-19 situation. Basically, we started working on it on UAE, but then we expanded that a little bit globally. And that's where I'm going to start. So as a beginning, I'm going to start talking about social data for analytics and fake news detection. We all know how data is becoming an extremely valuable resource, and it provides insights that can lead to cost and even life savings. Now, in crises such as what happened in 2020, Current COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting global lockdown, social media has become a very rich source of data for individuals, businesses, and government. We all been staying at home. We've all been reading online. We were, on the internet 24 hours and so on. At the same time, social media can also be a source of information defamation, which means refers to statements about a person or entity that harms their reputation and a more insidious problems, which is fake news. We've heard about the untrue information that's been coming about COVID-19 and the amount of problems that actually coming out from this. Fake news, basically, which is untrue information that is presented as factual news. This toxic product of social media and digital media can be hard to detect and thus can mislead the public opinion and misdirect behaviors. I'm going to give you a few examples as we speak. But the ubiquity and complexity of fake news with sources of bots and human producing producing all of these information, basically fake news and content near constant stream requires a rapid, accurate, and automated solution. And this is what we're trying to do. It's still a research. It's still, we've got few results, but still it needs something that's automated. And that's one of the issues we're still struggling with. This is particularly challenging to computer-based fake news detecting systems, which must be trained to understand and analyze language and its uses to detect what is likely fake and what is likely real. It's very hard to actually know and differentiate between what's real and what's not. We all see even on WhatsApp where people are just, they receive this video or this message and we'll be like just forwarding these messages without really looking at the sources of it, whether it's real or if it's not real and so on. Now, in the context of COVID-19, fake news can be particularly very dangerous. And we've seen that. Research recently published in the American Journal of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene reported that some 800 people died from drinking highly concentrated alcohol, following fake news reports that this would disinfect their bodies from COVID-19. If you remember, there was one of these famous people around the world. He came up and he said, why is people worried about COVID-19? Why is this whole propaganda or whatever? All you need to do is go ahead and drink some disinfectant or alcohol, highly concentrated alcohol. I'm not going to say detol, but something like this, and everything should be done. Following this fake news, and because he's a person in charge and so on, more than 500 people actually died just following this fake news. Another 5,900 people required hospitalization, and more than 60 people became blind as a result of the incorrect treatment that came from the fake news that this person just posted or talked about, and he tweeted about it. Now, there are also other impacts. So financial impacts. If I like, for example, a blogger and her post pushes me to buy a product, I will go, if I like them so much, I will actually go and buy that product that they were talking about, whether it's a pen or whether it's a makeup or whether it's food or something, okay? And what I will do, and this will be circulated around, okay? Maybe I will buy it, and we've heard about these influencers who was like, oh, I took this pill and I've lost all of this weight, okay? And people will go and actually follow up these stories, and we've heard about a lady passing away somewhere around here, and it was because that influencer that she likes told her that she lost weight due to that, taking these medicinal pills or something like that. Fear. Will I stop going out because of the dangers? Will I be all the news that you've been hearing? Okay, also especially related to COVID-19, what to do, what not to do, what kind of masks to wear, what to have. This produce fear, and we have been talking about. The other day I was in a session and it was talking about the psychological impact of COVID-19 on people, and this is all due to what's happening due to fake news. Now, also bullying and violence against innocent people. We've been hearing about false rumors, whether talking about racism or we're talking about people accusing others and so on. It's all fake news. It's all on social media. People read it, people follow it, and that actually can cause big problems and so on. Now, when it comes to these individuals and so on, our research decided to look at these emerging challenges of fake news detection. We first started addressing it in UAE. Then the idea is to take it further and look at it by creating these analytics devices and so on. Now, social media, it's concerned with the development of new methodologies and solutions for data and social network analysis. So by enhancing our ability to identify and track fake news, we can enhance cybersecurity, okay, and safety by neutralizing fake news as a weapon for hackers or interest groups and protecting the public from harmful false news. So reducing the potential of social disruption by neutralizing fake news is very important, and it will support the cohesion of society, and it will basically reduce economic disruption, while the fake news detection and tracking tools we are developing can be leveraged to support further research as part of the high-tech industry. One of these scenarios that we're looking at will be related to COVID-19. For example, studying the socio-economic impact of COVID-19 in UAE and globally. And we all know how we have been affected, the whole world have been affected with this. Now we're going to be using artificial intelligence techniques for analyzing of related data sets for crucial insights. And it's our hypothesis that in addition to other data sources, social networks become an important source of invaluable data, which if exploited correctly, can result in multi-dimensional impact of the 4 elements of national priorities, mainly in UAE and all around the world. We have to look at the competitive knowledge economy. We have to look at the cybersecurity. We have to look at the safety of the public, and we have to look at the cohesion of the society. Now, the leveraging semantic technologies. Now, the project focuses on leveraging semantic technology primarily, as well as other technologies such as the artificial intelligence and the microservices and cloud computing. Now, basically, it will use innovative technologies to extract, aggregate, process, and also data from diverse data silos to determine the data veracity, or in simple terms, if the news, whether they are real or fake. The project primarily leveraged these, as I said, in artificial intelligence and microservice. Now, the semantic technology are used to make data understandable to machines by categorizing and processing data and identifying the relationship and links within these data sets. The semantic technologies our project use includes the web ontology, or WL. Then we're looking at the RDF, resource description framework, and we're looking at the Sparkle protocol and RDF query languages and the semantic graph database. The mainstay is semantic annotation, so annotating data from with contextual meaning for machines and basically human and subsequently humans. This facilitates development of knowledge graphs with semantic graph database such as GraphDB, Neo4j, and Virtuoso, which we'll be talking about a little bit more detailed in a minute. Now, GraphDB is an enterprise-ready semantic graph database compliant with W3C standards. This is available online, open source. We also have the semantic graph database, also called the RDF triple stores, provide the core infrastructure for solutions where modeling, agility, data integration, relationships, exploration, and cross-enterprises data publishing and consumption are important. Now we're going to talk also about the Neo4j, which I just mentioned, which is the graph database platform powering mission-critical enterprise application like artificial intelligence, fraud detection, and recommendation, which again, this is very important for the fraud detection and can be used. The Virtuoso Universal Server is modern platform, okay, and built on existing open standards that harness the power of hyperlinks with connecting it for breaking down the data silos that embed both user and enterprise abilities. For example, the Virtuoso Core SQL and Sparkle powers many enterprise knowledge graphs initiatives, just as does with the DPpedia and the majority of nodes linked to Open Data Cloud. This is all the largest publicly accessible knowledge graph available. Now, the data can be made context aware, providing meaningful data. Many, as I said, the semantic annotation and also facilitating the development of knowledge graph with semantic graph database. Now, we've worked on a paper that basically looks at the findings of knowledge graphs, and we went into in depth about explaining classes and how can we extract that information from social media and from tweets by creating a Twitter developer account, and how do we pull these and so on. I'm going to talk about it in 1 minute. Now, I think I'm going very quickly because I can watch the time. Okay, so if I'm going to look at the ontology of social content and context modeling, okay, so that's basically where we start. So one of the deliverables of our research basically is an OWL-based ontology representing social content and context for data on social media. In this context, an ontology encompasses representation, formal naming, and definition of the categories. Now, the properties and also the relationship between the concept, the data, and entities that substantiate one, many, or all of the domains of discourse. Now, this is utilized for semantic modeling of data towards data analytics, inference, and reasoning. Now, for the ontology provides the main concept and properties required to describe the information that contextualize the spread of fake news in social media. And hence, it enables the semantic structure for data analysis and automated reasoning. In contrast to other well-known ontologies for modeling social network environments, the function of ontology FNO is particularly tailored to representing social media events, hence introducing a process-oriented approach. Now, this is what we're looking at also is the ontology web language, which is semantic web language designed to represent rich and complex knowledge about things, groups of things, and relation between things. So when we looked at it, when we looked at these statistics, and when we were able to identify the names, whether, for example, when a newspaper directly put something into like puts any news article, or, for example, tweet something on social media, especially on Twitter, our system will hopefully automatically be able to identify whether this is true information or whether this is fake information. Okay, and the same thing when it comes to individuals. It will be looking for at their tweets. Okay, and it will be identifying, filtering them, looking at them, and it will identify whether this is fake or real news. And then hopefully it will be whether deleted or removed or verified news at some point, and so on. So we managed to, the ontology statistics we made so far as follows. Number of classes, we had 67 classes that we created. Number of object properties, 38. Number of data types of properties, 72. And number of nodes were about 140. And the number of edges over here was more than 202. And there is a full paper coming out soon just to describe these classes in depth and in details, and it shows them the code, and it connects to the GitHub resources that we have been working on, and it's an open resource created on AWS and GitHub, and you can definitely just access that. Now I will be showing some of it later on. Now, ontology-based knowledge graph. Knowledge graphs contain description of entities, which interlink one another, with description having a formal structure that can be processed efficiently and unambiguously, and where there is contribution of one entity description to another, thereby coming up with a network in which each entity stands for a part of the description of the entities related to it. Some of the deliverables we had so far is a Conkg and a Fenkg. So Conkg is basically a COVID-19, that's why we call it, we started with a co, so it's a COVID-19 knowledge graph. It contains over 6 million COVID-19 related news articles from diverse publishers and authors. Okay, and basically with over 100 million statements in the semantic graph database, providing an infrastructure for social data analytics relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. Useful analytics resources for researchers, data scientists, government, and organizations. And again, when we looked at the COVID-19, other than the story I told you, I think now also we're looking at the fake news related to the vaccines as well, the vaccines related to COVID-19. And I must say, this is something I definitely would like to post a paper about very, very soon, because the amount of fake news that people writing about the vaccine related to COVID-19 is just, you know, yeah, it's a huge number, and we can tell that's actually affecting people. I can tell, for example, in my country, in Jordan, I know a huge number of people just refusing to take it because of the fake news that's been going all this time on WhatsApp, for example. And one of the, like, a lot of them are in my own family, relative, and so on. They're like, oh no, I'm not taking this because I've heard this, I've heard that. I was like, did you talk to a doctor? Did you take it from an, you know, authentic resource, or like from governmental entities? Because this is what we want at the end. We want them to look at resources from real, from the source itself, not just from what they hear on WhatsApp or the videos, or those people who would say, just use a lemon and squeeze it and you'll be fine. Okay, so it's really important for us to look at the COVID-19 vaccine part now. In this research, we're looking basically about COVID-19 in general. Now it's mainly we're looking also about the vaccine fake news, which is, again, the huge number of tweets we're finding and the huge number of data and resources for that we've been finding. It's more than millions and millions of statements that all over the social media. Now, when it goes to Fenkg is the same concept, but basically we're looking at the fake news detection knowledge graph, so containing thousands of classified tweets as either fake or real, with over 70 million statements in the semantic graph database. And it's useful for a percentage-based classification of other tweets as either real or fake. And we're also looking at more percentage classification leads to higher level of accuracy for detecting fake news or fake tweets on social media. So when it comes to the fake news knowledge graph, so we were taking events, for example, a football game or something like, you know, an event happening in any of the countries, not related to COVID, because that's Conkg. So it's going to be whether, for example, a crisis or a problem or war or, you know, a political issue or something like that. So we're looking at events, and we did the same. We had millions and millions of statements about each event, and most of the time we either look at the dictionary, or we're looking at the hashtags and filter them, and then we will be looking at the news, whether they're fake or real. Sorry. So more percentages classification, as well as we said, on higher accuracy, and we're trying to classify them in a way to have as high accuracy as possible. Now, again, back to the Fenkg, can provide a multidimensional beneficial impact for researchers, data scientists, and organizations, such as identification of the fake news, and also the pattern recognition for fake news propagation models toward prevention of their spread. Okay, so we're looking here, this is basically what we're looking at. And then we have the generation of insight into fake news enablers and tackling them. Okay, and analytics towards forecasting, reasoning, establishing policies, and general decision making towards curbing societal vices resulting from fake news. One of the things that we want when it comes to the fake news detection through the knowledge graph is basically be able to forecast and reason okay, and establish policies. It's not about asking people to stop talking or freedom of speech or something like that. It's all about being able to stop those who say fake news that affects lives, that affects societies, that makes adds to bullying of at schools or fear in the people. It's very important for us to actually be able to forecast this, predict this, catch it at the beginning, and put policies related to it. With this, when we do that, and when we do it in the right way, what we can do is set policies. The countries will be able to set policies that, for example, if you put rumors or fake news that's not actually from good resources, this can actually cause you an issue, because again, we don't want people dying from drinking highly concentrated alcohols, or we don't want kids to be bullied because someone just posted fake news. And we can see how this is actually having a high psychological impact also, whether on schools or kids or even the people in the society. Now, when it comes to the Conkg, it's the significant benefits and application areas based on predictive analytics, such as the better engagement with the public and their sentiments and opinions, improving the private-public relationship and access to vital data, leveraging artificial intelligence solutions such as personal assistant, chatbots, and so on. Now, monitoring multiple metrics for forecasting improved public health, and also foster planning, management, and optimization of data resources. Now, when it comes to detecting everything related to COVID-19, the main idea is we engage better with the people. We tell them the true information. We get their opinion as well. We look at their opinions. We see what they think about whether the strategies a government is doing or whether how a hospital is dealing and so on, but without having fake news on social media. It also will improve the private and public relationship and the access to the data. It will make the data more visible to the people without having, hidden data and scaring the people or spreading the fear in them and so on. This is all will be part of the planning and the management and optimization of data sources. Now, related to this, we've recently managed to get a new fund here in UAE. It's a cluster fund, which will be a collaboration between the College of IT, the College of Public Health, and multiple health entities here in the UAE, with highly people from WHO, people from the Ministry of Health, researchers and doctors from different places in UAE and even worldwide. To be able to forecast, if God forbid, we don't want another pandemic, but if God forbid this is to happen again, what kind of planning we need to do. We've all been in a place where, oops, that happened, now lockdown will happen, people were just got lost. And I'm talking about academia, about educators, about even like entities. And we've seen a lot of countries around the world, they were not able to decide what to do it and how to do it in the right way. The idea behind the project that's coming is to be able to forecast and detect and manage things, okay, by optimizing the resources that we have with machine learning, with AI, with intelligent solutions that we can find that will be able to sort out these issues, okay, in advance, or forecast what we should be doing in advance. Now, I'm almost done with my research talk. I told them I don't need more than 30 minutes to 40 minutes to describe this. I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about our future work. Now, the potential impact for the general public, professional, and the government include the following. Basically, detection of fake news and data on social media, inhibiting spread and propagation of fake news on the web. And again, with the huge amount of platforms that we have between Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all of these places, okay, it's very important to have I'm not going to say a control, but a way of detecting the fake news and data on social media. Now, inhibiting the spread and propagation of the fake news and on the web is very important, because again, back to my first slide, we don't want disasters. We don't want people to refuse take medications because they've heard about some fake news. Now, the infrastructure for public use towards knowledge discovery and acquisition, as well as for expert use towards scholarly research for curbing fake news, and addressing other data-inspired negative social vibes. So it's also very important that we have an infrastructure for public to use. So we have a lot of knowledge. So if there is something that we have noticed in the past year, and we're done with the first year of COVID, the past year, the amount of knowledge that we have acquired, the amount of information that's available everywhere, whether it's real or fake, and we all had the time to be always on the internet. That's how we use our time nowadays. Now, and we've been always busy with meetings, we're all doing work from home and so on. So it's very important that we actually have a base, okay, of scholarly research for curbing the fake news menace and addressing other data inspired by negative social vices. Now, for the future direction, the semantic AI based research into advanced user, both end user and expert, for timely and personalized feedback, recommendations, and suggestions toward making decisions and taking actions based on the data that we are acquiring now on social media and the web at large. Use of complex machine learning algorithms such as artificial neural network for advanced text processing and analytics prior to and after the transformation of RDF formats is also, our main thing. Any question before I move to the question, if I may? How do I stop the sharing? 1 second. Okay, here we go. 1 second. So basically, I was just going to talk about. 1 second, bear with me. I accidentally closed something. So I'm gonna talk about some of the updates that we have done recently. I should have added this to the slide. So basically, as I said, other than the Conkg and the Conkg, what we're doing now is having a semantic model for context based on social media, which is the FADNet ontology. This one, basically, we're looking at the popular interaction of types include, for example, the chats, the chatbots also, and so on, to be able to classify and detect fake news. We're also, we have done also some in-depth Sparkle analysis on Conkg and Conkg, especially now the Conkg what related more to the vaccines. This is very important, and I find that this is one of the very let's say huge amount of data that we have found related to this is just unbelievable, and the amount of people who don't believe in the vaccine is just, I think we all have been seeing this and so on. I cannot see if there's any questions. If you have any questions, please ask me.
Thank you, Dr. Anoud, for the very informative presentation. If anybody have a question, you may raise your hand or you may type it. So far, no question.
If I may, I add, one of the things that has been challenging for us recently, I get that question a lot, is what if this solution of fake news detection fails? Now, if I may, Mahmoud, I still think I have time. If I may just say a little bit about this.
Yeah, go ahead, Doctor.
So, so it's very true that that's one of the issues we're actually facing. Now, what we're doing so far is ours is manual. We download the tweets, we put them on the software, and we run them, and we get the results. The issue that we're having is how to actually automatize all of this and to provide a live fake news detection, and so on. For instance, the various social media, it's difficult to expect general users to run every single piece of news of information through a fake news detection software. That's one of the problems. Yeah, you can't take you know, Mahmoud, how many tweets we get every day. It's ridiculous, the amount. It's per minute. We're talking about millions per minute. So to take each one of these and actually go ahead and run it through a software is just too difficult. So the thing we're trying to do now is automate our software tools to check authenticity, bearing in mind that these tools can be as good as like when it works automatically, as good as when you put it one by one. Still, people say, what happens if it fails? We need to raise awareness. So we need to tell people who keep, for example, sending on WhatsApp or like forwarding messages without even looking at it, or looking on Twitter and tweeting and retweeting messages. We need to raise the awareness of the people. We need to ask people to check the resource of the information, check the author, use your common sense. When you read something, you have to use your common sense. Compare this information with the official resources that you receive from your government as well. And in my kids' school, they were always saying, since the pandemic started, sharing is not caring anymore. And this is this. My son will come home and he'll say, Mama, I cannot share this with my friend anymore. The same with fake news. Do not share fake news. Sharing is not caring in this term. Share only authentic ones from official resources, from hopefully, especially when it comes to COVID, from your governmental resources and so on.
Thank you, Doctora. I can see that there is no further questions or no more questions, especially when it comes to COVID-19. Everybody already has the latest updates and news from the social media. Anyway.
Thank you all for your time. If anyone is interested to take this further or to ask me any questions.
Yeah, there is, I think, one question from Mr. Emil Uzari.
Yes,
Emil Uzari.
Yes, hello. Good morning. Is my voice clear?
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much. It was interesting listening. Thank you for sharing your time with us. I just have a quick question regarding independent research. Okay. Now, you said we need to check the validity and the truth, the information, if it's valid or not. Now, when it comes to independent research, especially regarding COVID-19, what is to say, or who is to say, not WHO, but the person, so who is to say that independent research is either not considered true or invalid? My question here is only information regarded as true if it comes from a worldwide known institution? Are independent researches considered truth? These doctors, scientists, people that are actually bringing out some information of maybe hundreds of years of knowledge, seem to be considered as invalid or quacks, which is quite interesting. So my question here is, how would you then advise people to make that difference and you said to be conscious and to check? Yeah. So checking and finding and being conscious, how would you advise people on this? Is independent research considered as true or not? Thank you.
Thank you. This is a very interesting question, and that's the issue. It's like how to know or how to identify and understand which one is the authentic research and so on. And that's where I said at the end of my research is the coming research we're working on is to actually have a database of knowledge where we will be adding the authentic ones from researchers. How do we identify? As you said, I've seen a lot of research from well-known people who just decided to look at it from a different perspective, or to away from the governmental official news that's coming out. I'll be honest with you, we have to employ advanced deep learning algorithms for detection, and we have to be comparing, predicting and doing perspective analysis for this compared with the previous research that has been done everywhere around the world and come up with an algorithm that will look at that and identify whether it's new, it's fake or true information. It is very challenging, I must say, and we always look at the official resources for the real information, and that's where we feed the data to our software. But it is very challenging. But this is what we're looking at in our cluster for the coming for our upcoming research through the cluster with WHO or with researchers from all around the world, and we're including hospitals, we're including ministries from different aspects. To be able to come up with, let's say, a big database of knowledge and true knowledge, let's say, okay, where people can refer to.
I see. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. I don't know if I was very satisfied.
That's what I'm going to say. Yeah. The problem, Emil, is I don't know how you feel about it, but the problem is, how do you know that this is true or not? This is what we're trying to figure out in our research. So far, we're focusing on the social media, and we're downloading databases and tweets and things and running it in our database. But the idea behind the research is to actually be able to build a database of true information, not fake ones, to help the people. But yeah, I don't know what you think. Well, how do you feel about it?
No, I can understand it's a very difficult thing to do. My only concern is that because living in such an age of time of technology, everything has become very digitized. It's very electronic and very technologically advanced. And as far as I understand, I know that there's benefits of certain algorithms and making certain software that would detect certain things. I mean, when it comes to health, we would want some help of technology as well, perhaps involved. But to a certain extent, when it comes to discerning and understanding and actually feeling with all of our own human emotions and thoughts and ideas and our gut feeling, I don't know how correct or right it is to trust an algorithm or a program that was made by people who, I mean, in a way, it's not as if we would walk around and say to somebody, hey, hold on, let me check what you're saying. Like, would you walk up to someone and say, if I'm speaking to you face to face, would you say to me, 1 minute, let me check what you're saying if you're right or not? Because if you're not right, I'm going to stop you right there. You wouldn't say that to anyone, right? So it does really seem strange to want to do it electronically. That's my only concern.
I totally agree with you, and I totally understand. And that's why we're only focusing on social media at this point, because that's where we can actually take that information and check it before it's actually gone online with an algorithm. I know it might be as hard as you said, but yeah, this is so far, it's a research in progress, but this is what we're trying to figure out so far. Hopefully soon we'll have a more intelligent technique to actually do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I know you need all the help that you guys can get. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again. It's really hard, really, with since the fake news spread faster than the good news. It's really hard. And so far, I feel that there is no more question. We might end the session at this time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So at the end of this talk, just join me, all of you, to thank our guest speaker, Dr. Anud Benihani, for her informative talk about how to detect fake news in the social media. I hope it is very useful for you too. And we'd like to remind you all that today's talk recording will be available also in ETC Talk channel in Microsoft Stream, as well as in the UTAS webpage. Thank you once again, Dr. Anud.
Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you. Yeah. Have a nice and great weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.